This Week in Gaming with Naomi Kyle.
Hello everyone, I'm Naomi Kyle and welcome back to This Week in Gaming. This week we're catching up on the Super Mario Galaxy movie and the developer showcase from Xbox. And just as a heads up to our listeners, this episode is our official season finale for Season 2 of This Week in Gaming. So we'll be going on a brief hiatus following this episode to gear up for everything we have planned for you this year for a brand new season. And with that, as always, we've got all of this week's gaming news. So let's get started. Xbox presented their very first digital showcase for the year 2026, the Xbox Developer Direct. As promised, Xbox delivered exclusive gameplay footage for some of 2026's most anticipated titles, such as Forza Horizon 6, Beast of Reincarnation, Fable, and a brand new game from the prestigious game studio Double Fine. The showcase began with a look at Forza Horizon 6, where players begin their story as a tourist visiting Japan. In your travels as the game's protagonist, you find the Horizon Racing Festival, which you enter competing against other drivers in races throughout Japan's most iconic vistas. There will be a large roster of 550 cars to choose from at launch, plus a hint at a Gundam crossover coming in the game's future. Forza Horizon 6 will drift onto PC, Xbox Series X and S, and Game Pass Ultimate when it launches on May 19th, 2026. The PS5 version, however, will not be available at launch and will release at a later date. Next, we got an extended preview of Beast of Reincarnation, a unique single-player RPG from Pokemon devs, Game Freak. In this new adventure, you play as Emma, a warrior immune to the blight that has caused Japan, and presumably the rest of the world, to get swallowed by nature. Joining her on her quest is her wolf companion Ku, who also has immunity to the blight. With their combined strength, Emma and Ku team up to vanquish the blight that has corrupted the land. When entering combat, Emma and Ku play off of each other to maximize damage. Anytime Emma successfully parries an attack from an enemy, Ku's magic gauge increases in power, allowing for Ku to freeze time and counter with special attacks. Beast of Reincarnation is slated for a summer 2026 release and will branch out to platforms like PS5, PC, Xbox Series X and S, and Game Pass Ultimate. As an added surprise, Double Fine, the developers of Psychonauts, revealed that they are actively developing a new game titled Kiln. Kiln is an online party brawler wherein players control a sentient piece of pottery that they handcraft at the start of each round. In the lobby before a match, players take part in every aspect of making pottery, including throwing clay, painting, glazing, and firing to create a piece of pottery that is one of a kind. Each pot, depending on its shape, is placed into one of 8 categories, and 3 sizes gives each pot strengths, weaknesses, and special moves unique to its class. At the start of a match, 2 teams of 4 go head-to-head in an arena to collect water and douse the opposing team's kiln to win. Kiln is fired up to launch on PS5, PC, Xbox Series X and S, and Game Pass Ultimate in spring 2026. For the final game of the showcase, Playground Games showed off what has come of Fable after more than 6 years of development. Like the first game in the series, players begin their adventure as a child destined to become Albion's first hero in a generation. After you've grown into an adult, the world opens up, allowing for you to go out and make your own adventure. The world is a complete sandbox experience, allowing for you to buy property, run businesses, marry, and have children. Playground has described the NPCs that inhabit Albion as a living population, with each character having their own thoughts, dreams, and routines. Each NPC is fully voiced, making for in-depth conversation that adds a spark of life to each character. Playground has also noted that your choices as the hero, however small, can have drastic consequences that affect Albion and those who inhabit it. Unfortunately, there is still no release date for Fable, but we can expect Fable to cast a spell over the PS5, PC, Xbox Series X and S, and Game Pass Ultimate when it comes out sometime in fall 2026. In another early morning Nintendo Direct, Nintendo revealed a new trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie that is due in theaters in just a few months. In the trailer, Mario and Luigi discover and befriend the lovable green dinosaur Yoshi. The trailer makes references to other characters from the Mario universe, like Birdo from Super Mario Bros. 2, the Toasterinans from Mario Odyssey, and Baby Mario and Luigi from Yoshi's Island. After the trailer, Illumination CEO Chris Meledandri confirmed that the Super Mario Galaxy movie has currently entered post-production, and things seem to be going pretty well because the movie's scheduled release date has been bumped up from April 3rd to April 1st. Nice.
Quest complete.
So that's the news for this week. It's now time to chat with our guest. Paul Castro Jr. joins us to chat about the world of voice acting in video games.
Select game mode. Multiplayer.
Hey, Paul, it's so great to have you on This Week in Gaming. I can't wait to talk to you about all the voiceover stuff, but really appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I really came upon your work thanks to JT, who seems like a really great person, told me about your work and everything that you do. I had no idea how much voice acting you've done. It is incredible. You have done the gambit.
I'm very, very lucky. Yeah, JT is amazing. He's been wonderful to work with. And in terms of just the voiceover stuff, it's the world that I never knew I needed as an actor. There's just so much opportunity to play characters you wouldn't normally play if you were just doing like theater, TV, or film. So it's been one of the greatest blessings I've ever had in my life.
And you've said it yourself that you're a big nerd as well.
Yes, self-proclaimed.
Amazing. Well, I guess we could start from the start, which is how did you first get started in voice acting? I know you've done a lot of acting, but voice acting in particular, how did you get involved in that?
Yeah, I mean, it was always something because I had, I eventually found my way to studying acting in college, and I had a theater professor when I was at a school called Monmouth University in New Jersey. And I had told him, I was like, I'm really into anime and video games and stuff. And the piece of advice that he gave me that always stuck with me was, if you want to be a voice actor, you got to be an actor first. So I was like, oh. So I went down the rabbit hole of just getting obsessed with plays and just the craft of acting. And eventually I moved back to New York after, I transferred from Monmouth to NYU. And while I was there, I quickly had gotten a commercial agent for, on-camera commercials and stuff, because I looked like I was 12 years old, but I was actually 19.
Right.
So I was able to work past the child hours on stuff. And I had started begging my commercial agent to send me out for voiceover commercials, because I was like, where I started actually was from an interest in voiceover. And I wound up getting the gig of being the voice of Nick Sports for all their promo stuff. So the thing I always say is, whenever you're watching a show on TV and you always hear like, coming up next is this, only on Nick. That was me on Nick Sports. So that was my first kind of foray into voiceover. And then New York, in terms of the voiceover market, it's much more of a commercial market versus Los Angeles, which is more like video games and anime and animation. And there was a couple of things recording in New York, and I wound up becoming one of the voices of Clifford the Big Red Dog for PBS.
Oh my gosh. I love that show growing up.
I know. Everybody knows Clifford. So even if I go to like these anime conventions and they're like, I don't know any of this, but I know Clifford. So that's always the thing that stands out. But those were my starts. And then I did a couple of other like Nickelodeon shows, Nick Jr. shows. And then I made the move to LA, and that's when all the video games and anime started happening.
All right, well, we're going to get into all of that. But first, let's take a quick break. It's Games Out This Week.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
Or the free iHeartRadio app.
Games Out This Week.
Starting on January 26th, Highguard raids the PS5 and PC. On January 27th, Earth Must Die and Underground Garage take a joyride on PC. Rightfully, Barry Arms reloads on PC and Xbox Series X and S. Then on January 29th, Eupophilia and Cairn climb onto PS5 and PC. Space Warlord Baby Trading Simulator matures on PC. And on January 30th, Folklore Hunter creeps onto the PC. And Code Vein 2 hacks and slashes on PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. The Epic Game Store is offering one free game this week. Definitely not fried chicken, which will be available for download from January 29th until February 9th.
Quest accepted.
All right, so let's get into all the stuff you've done since getting your start.
Okay.
Now, I'm going off of your IMDb, so please let me know if some of these are wrong. But you were in Death Stranding 2 on the beach?
That is a funny one to start with because yes, I was in Death Stranding 2. That is correct. But in the credits of the game, they credit me as Neil's mother.
Yeah, I was confused about that.
Which is not the role I played. So I tweeted something about it when that came out. I played Nicholas Winding Refn's character. He has this heart monitor that always is basically turning him on and off as a human. And I am that device that basically tells him when he's about to go into hibernation mode. But they credited me as Neil's mother. So there's that.
Wow. Well, I got to ask then, did you have, what was the process working on that? And did you get to meet Kojima?
I did not get to meet Kojima. I would obviously love to. I'm a huge fan of the first game, and the second game was spectacular. And that was my first time, I think, working with Santa Monica Studios, Sony. So for me, that was a huge kind of breakthrough as a voice actor to finally get working with them. And the team over there and the casting, Jamie Boffis, and they're just been so kind to me as a performer. And they just do, obviously, some of the best games. So it's just cool to be working with them finally.
Yeah, you have been in some pretty incredible franchises. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You played Billy, Fallout 76 I saw Fortnite.
Yeah.
These are some great franchises. Is there any one of them in particular, even Genshin Impact, not to mention, are there any in there that, for you felt like a turning point in your career?
Well, Final Fantasy VII, again, was one of those games. I was a huge gamer growing up. JRPGs was the foundation of kind of who I am today. I identified so much as a gamer, and those stories, guided me even into this career that I have now. So to be one of my favorite games growing up, then to be a part of this remake, it was that was on my bucket list of things to do. And I was just so lucky that I wound up getting a role in it. But in terms of a turning point for my career, the game, also a Square Enix game, Neo: The World Ends With You, was the first video game franchise that I got to work on when I moved out here. And I was the lead character. So they took a huge kind of risk on putting me in a role that I don't know why they thought I could do it. They took, the dive with me, and the directors on that kind of guided me into how you dub video games, and that opens so many doors for me. And a lot of the jobs that I work on today are because of that. And so many of those directors are like, I heard you in this game, we wanted to bring you in because we thought you did such a great job on that. So it changed my life.
Amazing. This is maybe a hard question to answer, but how does performing for games differ from TV series acting? I know it's still voiceover, but does it differ at all doing it for games versus voice acting? And then even how it differs to anime, to live action overdub, the gamut. What would you say is the main difference between the two?
Well, it's a great question, and I think there's a lot of differences. One thing as a performer that I try to do, and I think that's been a reason, or you're seeing this shift right now in the gaming sphere where a lot of the performances are becoming very cinematic, and they're very grounded, and they seem like you're watching a movie in these cutscenes. And look at Expedition 33. I mean, you've got Charlie Cox is one of the main characters who did the voiceover for the character in that game, and it's so grounded, it's so real. And I always try to start from there, from a place of truth. But technically, one of the main differences is in games, if you're recording to picture, you're dubbing it. You have to very much match either the lip flaps, or nowadays they're using technology to match your performance to the lip flaps, even if it's starting in another language. But things that are not necessarily timed, with lip flaps, they're timed within cutscenes and stuff. So even if they're going to change the lip flaps, you might have to, they'll be like, okay, this is a 7-second line. We need you to be within like 0.5 seconds shorter or longer of that. So you got to kind of match your performance and pace to meet those like in-game criterias. Because if a cutscene is a certain, length, if we do too much differently in the English adaptation, that could be twice as long of a scene.
Right.
So that's a very technical thing that took a lot of learning, or it's a learning curve for, I think, a lot of actors. And that's why when you see sometimes people who primarily do on-camera work or theater do voice acting for the first time, it can be a challenge. And I definitely experienced that. And, I again credit my directors, Bob Buchholz on Neo. He really was so patient with me and walked me through each of those steps. And yeah, it's very technical, very, very technical.
Very technical. So it does require a lot of skill and practice and coming in prepared, I'd assume, to some degree. But then also it feels a little bit like you're just showing up on the day and hoping that you're able to get the times right and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, because you don't necessarily get rehearsal time,
Right.
and they're not sending you the scenes beforehand, or even the scripts for that matter, where, on camera stuff or a theater piece, you're rehearsing for weeks or months, if not
Right.
years. And so you kind of show up and you have to be very adaptable, very directable. And having that skill set for dubbing is huge. I mean, again, sometimes we get to do the origination of a character, and then you have much more freedom to do what you want. Let's say on like a Sony game, where the original language is going to be English, and then other countries or languages are adapting to that. I think you get a little bit more freedom when you're the person originating a role.
Okay. Have you dabbled in live action? I don't know. Yeah. How has that been? Is that something that you want to do more of in the future?
I just love storytelling. I love acting. I mean, I started when I was living in New York. I had done so many of those New York TV shows like Blue Bloods and Law and Order. And there was a show Limitless, which was based on that movie. And then I was doing all of those, and even like some feature films and stuff. I did a movie with Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig, and Ty Burrell, where I played Ty Burrell's son, the Skeleton Twins, which was a fantastic film. And I love it. I just love being a part of the process. And I'm a filmmaker too. My wife and we just made a movie that's starring Lena Headey and Robin Tunney. So like,
Wow.
I just love being a part of the storytelling process in any way that I can. And if an on-camera gig comes around, or a theater piece that I really like and I resonate with, I'm going to do it. I'll make time for it,
Yeah. Tell me about your movie and your production company that you have.
Yeah. Our production company is called Links Point Pictures, and it all, again, finds its way back to gaming. Our first film that we did as a production company was this movie called Eris, which is, for anyone who knows Final Fantasy VII, the English translation in the first Final Fantasy VII of Aerith was Eris.
Yeah.
And we wound up naming our kitten that. And that was the first movie that we made about our kitten. And this new movie we have is called Divine Blood. And my wife wrote it. We co-directed it. We co-produced it. It was like crazy process, and Lena Headey stars in it, and she's a menstrual artist who starts going through menopause. So it's a very I think it's a unique piece in there. I don't think there's really ever been a story like it. And again, my wife wrote it, and it's very funny while also deeply moving. And we just finished post-production on it, or we're tidying up those things, and hopefully it'll come out in sometime early 2026 in the festival circuit.
Very excited for that. I also just released my first short film. Well, it's in the festival circuit, and it's an undertaking working on your own production and from start to finish.
What did you learn from doing the short film?
Oh my gosh. I would say more preparation always, but you're also never truly prepared. And I think just little things like I wanted to make sure that the sound was right. And so finding the right person to do that. I think really it's about relationships. And I think I didn't prioritize that a lot at the start. So I'm thinking just next time around, like have my people ready to go, and
that's
have it
something
scheduled.
that we've done. We've been working with a lot of the same folks for the past 10 years. We try to work with people that we know and we like, and
Right.
sometimes there's really talented people, but and not to say that the people we work with aren't talented, but having somebody that is, maybe doesn't have as big of a resume, but you can work with, and they're again
Yes.
directable, and
That's it.
they're someone you want to hang with, and they just bring good vibes. That's invaluable to a film set.
100%. It's all about who you work with and making sure the vibe is right, because no one wants to make anything and not be feeling like it's the right fit.
Absolutely.
Let's get into gaming as a hobby for you.
Sure.
So what would you say is your go-to gaming genre? Do you have one, or do you kind of dabble into everything? What's your go-to?
I do dabble in everything. I think ultimately RPGs are the thing I kind of always gravitate towards the most, but I mean, I've even dabbled in like competitive gaming. I was like, I used to play like Smash Brothers Melee competitively, and like when I was living in New Jersey, I was a huge competitive Overwatch player when Overwatch 1 was out. I was like a ranked top 500 Winston back when that was like in those days. So I do love MOBAs, MMOs. Shooter games. I'll dabble in everything, but at the end of the day, the things that I find myself playing the most are sitting on a plane or on my couch with my Steam Deck playing an RPG. I'm still playing Expedition 33 right now. So
I was going to ask about that, if you were playing the Game of the Year.
Yeah, it's great.
Did you watch
I
the
love
Game
it.
Awards?
I did watch the Game Awards, and I think, based on everything I've played so far, it's such a great story. It's one of those games that you hope as an actor you get to be a part of, because they just did such a great job allowing the actors to tell the story. And I think PCAP, MoCap is one of those things where you get to bring a lot more of yourself, not just your voice, to the role. And those are the things that are on kind of my to-do list for the next coming years.
I was going to ask you, what is your, pie in the sky goal right now, the thing you're focused on?
Yeah, I mean, again, those type of just really great stories that, and type of performance capture-based performances would for sure be on that list. I've gotten to do really great things, and I'm very blessed and lucky to push myself in anime and video games, but I would love to bring even more of myself to a role, and maybe even help collaborate on what that role is. So yeah, I'd love that opportunity.
Would making a game be something you guys would do as a production company in the future?
Man, that's a big pie in the sky dream, because I know how hard it is to make a movie, and to make a game I think would be in ways even harder, because I'm not a developer in terms of like I don't know the fundamentals of what it takes to actually get in there and to design the video game world, but to marry all of my loves and to be able to even just be someone who writes the story of a game, that would be really cool and not out of the question. I think there's folks that are voice actors like Robbie Damon, Max Middleman, Ray Chase, and even Nick Thurston, who worked as a writer, a buddy of mine, on Date Everything, and to see their success with that is very inspiring. And I think it would maybe be encouraging for me to see those successes and be like, yeah, if you're a storyteller, you can tell a story through games, even if it's not something you've done before.
Right. Well, I love that, and I definitely hope that one day you go down that path. That would be really cool. Well, thank you so much, Paul. It was so great meeting you and chatting with you about just what you do. It's so fascinating. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your week. Thank you. You too. Pleasure to be here. Paul Castro Jr. is an actor and filmmaker. You can follow him on Instagram at Paul Castro Jr.
Flawless victory! Continue!
And that's This Week in Gaming. I'm your host, Naomi Kyle, and I had the best time bringing you the news this week. Thank you so much for listening throughout all of Season 1 and 2, and we'll be back soon with a brand new season for you very soon. From all of us here at This Week in Gaming, we wish you a fun-filled week, and we'll see you again same time, same place for Season 3. Talk to you later.
This Week in Gaming is an iHeartRadio Canada podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app for more podcasts just like these.
I'm Luke Wilson. Join me each week for Film Never Lies. We're going in depth on football and a lot more. We'll pull back the curtain on life in the pros and dive deeper into the stories making the headlines. No hot takes, no lazy narratives, just real honest conversations. You can watch or listen to Film Never Lies on all the TSN platforms and iHeartRadio app.